and she asked Steve, she said, is there anyone in the group who kind of carries like a low register with their voice? And he says, well, Jon Jon, yeah, he has a low tone. So what she decided to do was to take everybody out and let everybody go get something to eat, or they could even go home for that matter. So she left me, record, the bridge to the song. So I started singing the bridge to the song. And at first she had the lights all dim, and it was all low, and all I could see was just the music sheet, and what I had to sing. And so I started singing. That my love will stand the test of time. And then I try to reason to keep trying. I started singing that part, and then she stopped the music. And I asked her, I said, is everything okay? She said, yeah, everything is just fine. I'm just trying to wonder if Johnny Gill sing a duet with Troop. So it was chaos after that. So she began to go ahead and talk to our management about some things about how I need to be singing more and, that type of stuff. So that's actually how I was able to really come in to become like a third lead vocalist for Troop.
Right, because I definitely thought by listening to you guys' albums, it was always Alan, Steve, Coley, and then yourself. Because it's like, wow, you got 3 lead singers in a group. And also, too, you can also kind of clarify this. I interviewed Chucky, and he had said that Turned Away was originally for you guys, but Sylvia Rohn had heard it, and she decided to keep it on him, and therefore he wrote Spread My Wings for you guys.
Oh, we wanted that record bad. I mean, we had Turned Away, and Chucky gave it to us. And so we tried to go ahead and really talk to Sylvia about, getting that song and recording that song for ourselves, because it was a beautiful song. And she told us, no, you guys can't do it because it's going to go on his album. And at first, the funny thing about it, I'm not too sure if even Chucky even told you, but he really didn't want to become an artist. He just wanted to be a producer, a songwriter. That's what he wanted to become. But Sylvia saw something more, and she turned him into an artist as well. So we heard Turned Away, and we just thought it was just a beautiful song. And we was really hurt that we wasn't able to record the song for our record. So we got with Chucky and told Chucky, we told him, we said, hey, man, we need a song like this. You got to come up with a song for Truth that's like Turned Away. We got to have it. And he came up with Spread My Wings.
One of my favorite songs of all time, and the video. I believe Tony Basil of Mickey fame did choreography for that video, correct?
Well, it was a group effort of that as well. Well, pretty much with Rodney, Reggie, myself, this other guy, Doc Clark, and Tony. She pretty much she staged the video. She staged it. She came up with a few moves, but the majority of the choreography was done by a majority of the group. She staged it and she organized it.
And now with the video, in the little breakdown section, I was wondering, where did you come from? It's kind of like you kind of jumped out of nowhere. When Alan was doing his breakdown, then everybody just came up and you just come out of thin air.
Funny story. A lot of people are asking that. I was standing on top of a ladder, and they just wanted me to jump down on the beat of the song. So that's actually what happened. I was standing on a ladder. I was about maybe 4 or 5 steps up a ladder, and I jumped down. I landed on beat and got in the step with everybody else. That was basically how that happened.
Right, and the one thing that I really liked about you guys is like the dancing. I mean, the dancing was more of a street edge, while New Editions was more your traditional male R&B groups, your 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Who would you say was kind of like the main choreographer and the person that really like, okay, we're going to do this routine this way, or everybody just had an equal say?
We pretty much have an equal say, so as far as choreography goes, we do. People are pretty much in the group, the good dancers, as well. Steve, he's something else. Steve was like a Michael Jackson. He did a lot of Michael Jackson moves. I met Steve before I met everybody else in the group, and I used to dance with Steve. We would do Thriller, Beat It, and then he would go ahead and close the show and do Billie Jean. So Steve was no joke. Rodney's partner, Reggie, was just, he was always just really flimsy with his body. So he moves crazy. So he's always been like a really good dancer. Alan was the one who we had to work on. Alan had something going on with his body where, I know it's hard to imagine this, but Alan was stiff. And it's hard to say that any black man is stiff, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But he was stiff. Alan was a very stiff dancer. I would work with him and make sure that he was doing things with his body, just bending over and just like doing like stretch moves and stuff like that, so he can be able to, dance more loose. But that was his situation, though. He was always a pretty good pop locker, so which everybody had to do that to be able to get into the group. You had to be able to pop lock because we were going to, put those type of moves in choreography. She was pretty good at that.
It was also kind of sort of similar to the same situation when Johnny Gill joined New Edition. He had trouble dancing, and then he developed as soon as longer he was with the group.
Pretty much it's a similar, same type of way about how Johnny Gill got into New Edition. They would. Oh, that was funny though. They used to make fun of Johnny. They would say, if you hit this move, you'd be able to get in the group. We didn't tell Alan stuff like that. We just said, look, if you want to be in this group, this is what you have to do. And it was pretty much, point blank.
Spread My Wings became a #1 R&B hit. And also, too, I think I read on the album credits for Attitude that Trent Reznor from 9 Inch Nails was the engineer doing that album.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He engineered. There's a lot of engineering on pretty much on the stuff that Chucky had did on Troop.
I thought that was kind of weird. 9 Inch Nails, Troop connection. Hey, I didn't know that.
It's weird.
Now, coming off of Attitude, that album was big, and you guys are touring and everything. You guys go in the studio, and you record Deeper.
Deeper was everybody was trying to figure out what we're going to do at the time, because as a group, we were getting stronger, so we wanted to sing about more, mature things in life. So, and even at that time, I was trying to, sing more songs with Alan and Stevie. And at the time, our music director, Greg Coffin, he said, no, you need a song on yourself. All these vocals by Jon Jon. That's what you need. You guys were supposed to get, Give It Up and the song Deeper being all lead vocals by Alan doing all lead vocals on Deeper and Steve doing all lead vocals on Give It Up. It wasn't supposed to be that type of record like that. They always shared lead because I had such a different sound than Steve and Alan. Our band members were saying, no, Jon Jon needs his own record, period. But that whole recording process of doing the Deeper album, it was really cool and it was really comfortable because the record was produced and written majority of the group, Steve Russell, Alan, he had some cuts on the record. We used another cat, Demetrius Shipp. He did the first 3 tracks. He did Keep You Next to Me, She Blows My Mind, and I'm Not Gaming. I wrote Praise with Steve, that interlude. I wrote that with Steve. But that recording process was a lot of fun. We spent a lot of time in the studio, and it was working with other producers. They can be hard on you. Working with yourself can be a lot more comfortable because, to be honest, everybody knows one another in the group, so we know each other's talents and how far that we can go. And we also know how to pull one another from each other. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Bring out the best. So that's why I like the recording process of the Deeper album.
And I believe it was around this time you guys went on to Centennial Hall and did a performance, and the performance was so outstanding. Everybody was giving you guys a standing ovation. And also, I think BBD or some of the other New Edition guys were on that show, and they pretty much gave you guys, your props.
Pretty much everybody was there except for Johnny, and that was from the Attitude album. We did I'm Not Souped, and then we closed out on the Arsenio Hall show. We did Mamacita, for the very first single. We did a couple of shows with MC Hammer and Heavy D and Kool Moe Dee. We did about 2 or 3 shows with them, and I remember being in Hammer's room at the hotel. He was telling me that he wants to go ahead and take us on the road with him. He was getting ready to come out with this other album, and it was going to be incredible, and this and that, and how he was going to have a big band and all this stuff. When he told me the story about that, I was like, wow, you want us to be a part of that tour? He was like, most definitely, I want you guys to be a part of that tour. I thought that he was playing around. This is the same time his album had just got done, and it just got mixed, I believe. It's this Please Hammer Don't Hurt Him album. And he was playing the whole album for me. And it got to the song, You Can't Touch This. And I told him, I said, man, that's your one right there. He said, how so? How are you saying that this is really the one? I said, because you're telling each and every other rapper who was trying to rap, who was trying to entertain, who was trying to perform, you telling them, you can't touch me. And how it was presented, it was incredible. So I was just thinking to myself, how you going to want us to be on the tour with you? I mean, you're going to be killing them. And, we're R&B and he's hip-hop. But it all worked out because he was a great performer, himself. Still does shows. He's an incredible performer, man. That MC Hammer, something else. That whole tour situation with the Hammer thing, I didn't think that was going to work out. His brother Lewis was telling Hammer, I don't want you guys to come on the road. But the same night that Lewis was saying that, Hammer stopped his rehearsal that night because we had to perform on the Arsenio Hall show that night.